Management is fine, but principles of management has more clarity. How much unit you produce, that much unit only you are supposed to get the wages. So that is called piece wage rate system. Standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. Without setting standards, we should never work, is what F.W. Taylor always says. Hello everybody, once again we are back, and here today I'm gonna teach you about the revision class of the second chapter, that is Principles of Management. Now let me tell you here, students, Principles of Management has 8-mark question. Now what exactly these 8 marks are, I'm gonna teach you, and I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome you back. Now here in this session we're gonna go with a very interesting topics. The topics are as follows. We're gonna learn the significance of principles of management. In the previous chapter we went with the meaning, definition, function, feature, characteristics, functions of management, as well as we also learned about coordination, nature of management, importance of management. So here we're gonna go and learn more of the principles of management. The second thing, Taylor's scientific management. Now Taylor is a person who was born on 1856, died in 1915, and he is considered as the father of scientific management. Techniques of scientific management, which F.W. Taylor, that is Frederick Winslow Taylor, gave us. Fayol's principles, that is Henry Fayol 14 principle we're going to learn. And comparison between Fayol and Taylor is what we're going to learn. So in this chapter, you will definitely get a 4-mark question. Henry Fayol 14 principle is a POQ question. So you will definitely get a question of scientific management given by F.W. Taylor. So before that, we're going to go and learn what exactly the significance of principles of management. Significance can also be written as importance of principles of management. The first one, providing managers with useful insight into reality. That is what happens in the principles of management. Management is fine, but principles of management has more clarity. The reason is it will give the manager the gist of what exactly is happening in his organization. Optimum utilization of resources and effective administration you can achieve while having the principles of management. Scientific decisions can be taken. Now when I say optimum utilization of resources, please do understand that if we have resources, whether it is finance, physical resources, or any kind of a resources, optimally, with lot of efficiency and effectiveness, we need to use our resources, or else what happens is the resources which go for a loss is also what you have given the money for it. You need to extract it. So how to do it? Through the significance or through the importance of the principles of management, we can have optimum utilization of resources through taking scientific decisions, meeting the changing environment requirement, fulfilling social responsibility. Through principles of management, we can actually meet the social responsibility. I told you in the last session itself, in the first chapter revision, that the organizational goal, the personal goal, and the social goals, that is the objectives of management, the same way here social responsibility should be taken into consideration, because if we don't think about the society, who else will? The last one is management training, education and research. So here what happens, the more and more reality we get to know, we also know that where all we are supposed to get adjusted to it, and then we are supposed to get training. So through principles of management, we can get a proper education as well as how to do the work properly, we can achieve it. Next is Taylor's scientific management. Taylor is known as Frederick Winslow Taylor. Now, if you don't know how to write Frederick Winslow, you can write F.W. Taylor. So that is how you will get a question, that is, who is the father of scientific management? Whenever I say scientific, T is there. So F.W. Taylor, T is there. That is how you people need to remember this. So popularly known as the father of scientific management, published the article The Principle of Scientific Management in the year 1911, introduced a very beautiful concept of piece rate wage system. What is this piece rate wage system? In the sense, how much you work, only that much you get. That is what the piece rate wage system was. And in Industrial Revolution, this became the principle for allotting the wages. You work from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you used to get money, but there what used to happen is, how much you have worked, they were not able to calculate. But when F.W. Taylor gave this piece rate wage system, it is not about from 9 to 6 what you do, it is all about how much unit you produce, that much unit only you are supposed to get the wages. So that is called piece wage rate system, a revolutionized principle which he has given it. So here are the principles of scientific management. We have the 4 principles. The first one is science, not rule of thumb. Second, harmony, not discord. Third is cooperation, not individualism. And the fourth one is each and every person, that is his or her greatest efficiency, they need to meet. That is what he says. That is development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency. So that what we are supposed to go with it. Only then the prosperity for the personal as well as organization can happen. But he also gave us the technique of scientific management. I have got a lot of comments saying that, sir, can you just teach us the techniques of scientific management? I'll go with the technique of scientific management very slow so that you people can actually understand what exactly it is. See, in techniques of scientific management, many of the students, they have a confusion that, so is it only we have motion study, time study, fatigue study or method study? It is not just 4 students, you actually have more than that. So the first technique of scientific management is the functional foremanship. So this functional foremanship, what exactly it is, how exactly it is drawn, I'm going to teach you here. So whenever we go with functional foremanship, you need to understand F.W. Taylor planned for a proper division of work where specialization can be attained. So what exactly he did is, Taylor concentrated on improving the performance of this role, that is functional foremanship, which they are the people who come in the supervisory level. So here we have the levels of management, top level, middle level. So here is the functional foremen. So these people are there. So how to improve their efficiency rate is what F.W. Taylor gave this functional foremanship, where he says he advocates the separation of planning and execution. Who should plan and who should execute, he goes with it. See, usually what happens is the top level management are the people, who will plan and they are going to give the instructions to the middle level. The middle level people will not do the real work, they will get the work done. That's why it is called management, getting things done through others. So here what happens is the managers will be there. But the managers are not the real people who will actually work. So who are the people who work? The foremen, they are the people who work. So what exactly, how exactly you are supposed to bring the quality is what F.W. Taylor has given. So under planning in charge, he placed 4 personnel. The word personnel means staff. What is the meaning of personnel? Personnel means staff. So there are 4 staffs, namely instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and you have, see, this is time and cost clerk is one entity. You have instruction card, that is one, route clerk is second, time and cost clerk is a third one, and the last one is disciplinarian worker, a person who will actually go with the real discipline. So there are 4 people, right? Functional foremanship, he has given 4 to one of the department. Under production in charge, so here what happened is under planning in charge. So we have this, We have a planning in charge. We have a production in charge. So in that planning, what is it? He has given 4 people. Let's add here. He has given 4. Now under production, he has given, let's understand how many people he has actually given it. Under production in charge personnel who would work were speed boss. There is one person here, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and inspector. Under production also 4. Under personnel also there are 4. So I've given you here, right? Under planning in charge there are 4. So what happens is, this is how the functional foremanship will look like. So the factory manager is here. The middle level is the factory manager. Planning in charge and production in charge are 2 departments which he has changed. Under planning there are instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, disciplinarian. Now under here planning in charge we got 4. Next we have production in charge, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and the inspector. After that what happens is the workmen. So here the people will actually work and these are the bosses who gonna check whether they are doing it properly or not. So what happens is, lot of efficiency and effectiveness is taken into consideration and the workmen will work properly. So here the second technique of scientific management is standardization and specification of work. So standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. Without setting standards, we should never work, is what F.W. Taylor always says. So example, in our day-to-day life, if we go with it, morning when you get up and then you think what exactly I need to do, right? What exactly? So those things, what exactly you should do when you think, that is come the standards. But end of the day, actually what you have done. So you need to compare the standard, the actual. So how will you compare it? That is called controlling, right? Comparing actual performance with the standards which you set. Any deviation is there, the negative deviation is there, next day you are supposed to rectify it, or else what happens is your life will not have the career growth, you will have the depletion here. Same way, in an organization, say example BPO, business process outsourcing, or KPO, knowledge process outsourcing, what happens is the manager comes and gives you 200 calls you are supposed to make. So the target is how much? 200. So what is the 200? The standard is set. So why did he say 200 but not 250 or 150? Because he calculates it that how much should be the target, the standard. Now example, if I'm a person who calls 250 clients, will he come and scold me? Definitely no. He'll feel really good because I have done the performance more than the standard. But he will definitely point out people who have done less than 200 calls because the standard was set 200, the actual is less than that. So that's the reason, guys. We should always have what? Standard. If you don't have a standard, you don't know how many calls you are supposed to make. Probably you will make 20 calls and then say I'm done for the day. Or probably you will call 60 to 70, you will not even touch 100. So standard is always set. Second is, it can be standardized of process, raw material, time, production, machinery, methods or working condition. Everything should have its own standard. So in standards and specification of work, what happens is, to reduce a given line or product to fixed type, sizes and characteristics, we need to use standards. To establish interchangeability of manufactured part and products, we are supposed to go with specification. To establish standards of excellence and quality in material, we need to go with those work. To establish standard of performance of men and machines, we need to go with the scientific technique of standardization and simplification. Now, when we go with simplification, we can attain all these things. The next method of the scientific technique is itself called as the method study. How well you will go with the work. What exactly your method is. See, whenever we say method study, from the raw material which goes to the factory. Then the factory or the industry converts the raw material into finished goods. Then the finished goods goes to the market through distribution. The entire process from manufacturing to sales, the method study is taken into consideration. So what F.W. Taylor says is, we always need to see to it that the method of doing it should be proper and it should always have a quality in it. The next one is motion study. So motion study refers to the study of movements. But this motion study is not productive. It is not productive. It is like lifting, putting objects, sitting and changing position, etc., which are undertaken while doing a typical job. See, you are doing something and after that, that is non-core. That is called the motion study, where you have the movements. Now, motion study, it has few of the things, that is motions which are productive, motions which are incidental, motions which are unproductive. And though motion studies, Taylor was able to design suitable equipment and tools to educate workers on their use. So that is where the motion study was very famous as a technique of scientific management, where he says that even for helping a small work to be done, there should be a motion study where you will check whether it is productive or non-productive, what type of movement should happen, where the orderly placed equipment should be there, how the entire plant of an industry should be set so that they can reduce time and increase efficiency, is what the motion studies go with. The next one is time study. Now, time study determines the standard time taken to perform a well-defined job. So, you need to always give time has a preference. So, example, when we go for a restaurant also, right? We can't wait for 3 hours to 4 hours so that we will be served lunch. The same way, in an organization, in the industries, the targets are set where it should happen JIT, just in time, with TQM, total quality management, and it should always go with something called as standardization. So time management is very, very important, and this is also one of a technique of scientific techniques which is used by F.W. Taylor as a tool to successful organization. The objective of time study is to determine the number of workers to be employed, frame situation which is suitable, incentives, schemes, and determine labor cost. So we should also know how many people are supposed to work so that it will happen within the time. That is what the time study is all about. Next is fatigue study. Fatigue, all of us know that what exactly fatigue is. The more and more work you do, you get fatigue. So you need to understand that. A person is bound to feel tired physically and mentally if he does not rest while working. So don't ask me a question, sir, while working will you take rest, right? We won't go with those kind of a thing because we are not the laborers. So here what happens is, it happened in 1911, right? Where he says that worker need to rest properly and then he need to go with it, because that is called the fatigue study. He will not be comfortable in doing it. But nowadays in this habitat, in this kind of a situation, we don't feel like working more. Reason, the climatic condition, it can also be any kind of a thing. But when it comes to fatigue study, yes, even for students, I'm telling you, whenever there is an examination, what you people do is you will actually read the entire night and the next morning is the examination, and while writing answer, you feel drowsy. So this is what the fatigue study which you people need to understand. The rest interval will help one to regain stamina and work again with the same capacity. Fatigue study seeks to determine the amount and frequency of rest interval in completing a task. The last technique is called differential piece wage rate system. Taylor was a strong advocate of piece wage system. He wanted to differentiate between efficient and inefficient workers. So example, now we give a person A and there is a person B. So 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock this person comes and he works. B also comes from 9 to 5, he comes and he works. So both of them are, say, getting 40,000 rupees. The reality here is who is working good, we will not able to understand, because 9 o'clock they log in, 5 o'clock they log out, the amount what they get is 40,000 rupees. But what Taylor says is, let's not go with that what time they come and what time they go, what exactly the work they do, we are supposed to understand. Now what happens is, the person A manufactures 600 units because of that 9 to 5 hours. Now worker B manufactures 450 units within 9 to 5 hours. Now both of them are getting 40,000, so it is not proper. So what he says is, how much they make, only for that you are supposed to pay, and that is called the differential piece weight system. So the standard time and the other parameters should be determined on the basis of the work study. Next topic is Henry Fayol 14 principle. We all know that Henry Fayol is the father of general management. You get a 1 mark question, who is the father of scientific management, or you will get a question, who is the father of general management. So scientific is F.W. Taylor, general is Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol was an engineer, that is a mining engineer. He was from Ottoman Empire. I have done a special video of Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor. I'll share the link in the description itself, wherein you people can go and then check what exactly the 14th principle of Henry Fayol is, and get back to me and let me ask you more questions. Let's have a kind of a debate where what F.W. Taylor did was right or Henry Fayol has done it right. So for that we need to understand the comparison between F.W. Taylor and Henry Fayol. So in Henry Fayol, he was born in 1841, he died in 1925. He was a French person where he got engineering and he joined the mining company, and after that from the middle level position he started and he retired as the managing director of the same mining company where he joined as a mining engineer. So here what happened is, he went with the first identify of the 4 management functions, that is planning, organizing, directing and controlling. And then he also said more about communication, coordination should also happen. So now we'll go with the 14th principle which he stated. In this, I've given you the 7. The first one is division of work. Second is authority, responsibility. Third is discipline. Fourth is unity of command. Fifth is unity of direction. Sixth, S for subordination of individual interest to group interest or general interest. You can actually write it. The 7th one is the mirror image is F. So fair remuneration. You should never forget this. This is a POQ question. So whenever a POQ question comes, they're going to ask you a question saying that state any 10 Henry Fayol 14 principle. So please write all 14. Let them only choose what exactly the marks they are supposed to give. The 8th one is centralization, then followed by scalar chain, order, equity, stability, initiative, and the last one, because he is a French guy, he says that let's have a French terminology, and then he goes with esprit de corps, that is work unitedly. That is what he says. A comparison between Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor, as I told you, let's sit together and let's discuss more about it. I've given you 7 points here. The first basis is perspective, second is unity of command, third is applicability, fourth is basis of formation, fifth is focus, sixth is personality, and the 7th one is expression. When you go with this, understand, more people usually go with F.W. Taylor. The only reason is it is scientifically proven. But even now in the 21st century, 2023, there are so many industries and companies, organization, firm which uses the general principles. So here, the Henry Fayol, the first thing is Here, staunch proponent are the people who actually use that. Here, did not feel that it is important as under functional foremanship, a worker received order from 8 specialists. See, one worker getting order from 8 specialists. It's too much confusing. Say, I've seen that when your dad and mom say something to you, you always do whatever the person whom you love the most says. But here it is 8 people are telling, so a worker need to obey for that. So there is a slight confusion which goes with it. So here Henry Fayol is being used by the top level management. F.W. Taylor is by the shop floor level, that is the supervisory level people, they actually go with it. When it comes to applicability, it is applicable universally. General principles are what? Applicable universally. Applicable to specified situation only. And that too what? Specialized kind of situation. When it comes to scientific management, understand, only people who can afford more money of using scientific tools, only they can go with F.W. Taylor, or people will always watch for Henry Fayol. Basis of formation, it is personal experience. Scientific is all about observation, more cause and effect relationship. Then it focus improving overall administration, but here in scientific it is all about productivity is more. Personality, Henry Fayol is a practitioner, F.W. Taylor is a scientist. The last one is expression, general theory of administration, and this is called as scientific management. These are the comparison of Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor. Any doubt regarding this sessions, please do ask us. We're always there to help you. Thank you so much. Next class, I'll go with the revision number 3, that is the chapter number 3, business environment. Till then, thank you students. I'll see you when I see you.